Okay, so afternoon everyone. Welcome to day 2 of our virtual careers event. Hopefully you can see my screen all right. So this is the last session of today, and this is going to be with one of our hiring managers, Gavin, and a guy from our recruitment team, Joe. So they're just going to run you through kind of the application process and how that works, and talk to you a little bit about the kind of person that we're looking for. And then if you've got any general sort of career questions, there'll be a Q&A at the end. So there is a little Q&A kind of box on the right hand side of your screen. So if you do have any questions, just pop them in there and we'll go through them. So I'll stop talking now and I'll hand you over to Joe, who's going to run through the whole recruitment application process side of things. So yeah, I will hand you over to Joe.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joe Auckland. I am a recruiter in the JM Bentley recruitment team. I recruit across all of the JM Bentley business and also the Mott MacDonald part of Mott MacDonald Bentley. I hope you've had a good session so far and learned quite a lot about the business. So this afternoon we want to discuss around your application and how to apply for roles. So on to the next slide, please, Shah. Okay, so some of you, or I'm hoping most of you, will have already been onto our website and had a look around the site. It's a very good site. It's very informative. It talks a lot about our business and what we do and where we work and the schemes that we're involved in, and obviously the history of the company as well. In terms of application, you'll see we have a search and apply part on our careers page. Our website there is mottmacbentley.co.uk. You will apply on this site. We don't want CVs coming into inboxes. We want to make sure that people are going through the right process and that you're signing up to our privacy policies so that we can share your details internally. So the process will be that you'll apply online. It's a very simple process. You put your personal details onto the site and also upload your CV and cover letter. After you've applied, you will hear from someone within the recruitment team. They will have an initial call with you just to confirm receipt of your application and also just to confirm a few major details around the role, a bit about you, your availability, what you're looking for and what have you. And then towards the end of the actual process, we will then have a full first phone interview with you, and that'll be a little bit more detailed. So it'll run through the ins and outs of the role. It'll talk about what's going to happen during that process. So obviously I'm conscious we have both placement and potential graduate students on the line here. So some of you will have different expectations of what you want to get from either a placement or a graduate role with us. We'll have that conversation with you in detail on what to expect and how the structure of these schemes work, and also how that will work. Providing you're happy and we're happy at that stage, we will then invite you to an assessment centre. Now, typically we'd have everybody in a room working together, but obviously because of the situation that we're in, we obviously can't get together face to face, so we will be doing this virtually. So this is where we put you through your paces. You'll go through a number of assessments around teamwork. It could be individual work. We'll put you through situations that we want you to apply your thinking and just get a feel for how you're working in both a team and an individual environment. There'll be some specific tasks which are sort of role related, company related, and just some quite fun things as well for you all to get on and get on well together. There'll also be a one-to-one interview during this process. So although you'll be going through tasks, you'll have a one-to-one interview with a hiring manager, do your details, your CV, and talk to you on a one-to-one basis. After that time, if we're comfortable and you've met our assessment criteria, that's where the good stuff starts, and you'll receive an offer from us in writing and both verbally, and then we'll run through the offer with you and go through all of the details and then start planning for you to join us. Next slide, please, Shah. So how to submit your best application. So we're conscious that you will not only be applying to J.M. Bentley or Mott MacDonald Bentley, you will be applying for a number of companies. I'm sure you've all done your homework in terms of the companies you want to work with and what you want to get out of that placement or that graduate role. But what we're looking for is that your application is bespoke to us. We want to know that you've done your homework on us. We want to know why you want to work for us. We want to know what skills and experiences you can bring to us and what value you can bring to us as well. So we're looking at key strengths. We're also looking at the values that you can bring. So we're a very strong values driven business, and we want to make sure that you live and breathe the values as we do as well. So for instance, as a recruiter, I'll be one of the first people that sees your CV and cover letter, and I think you got to remember that the CV plays the largest part in getting you noticed, but your cover letter is an introduction to that CV, and it's the chance for you to capture our attention. And that's what we're looking for, is that something to stand out and something that, you know, we that we really want to look for, and it's going to make us really interested. So each job application that you do should be tailored to the role and show us that you're the right person for the role. A one size fits all cover letter won't work. I don't want to see an application coming to us with another company's name on it because you haven't been bothered to take that off. And believe me, it does happen regularly. So I want to make sure that you've done your homework on us. So I think highlighting keywords from both the job description and you know, from the role is really important. So keywords around skills, training, experience, anything that you can demonstrate you have it to, you know, to what we're looking for. In terms of the CV, remember, it's a personal marketing document. It's something that you sell yourself to prospective employers. It should really tell us about you, your professional history, your skills, your abilities, your achievements, and ultimately it should highlight to us why you're the best person for the job. So we want to make sure when that CV and cover letter comes into us that we know that you really want to work for us. Next slide, please, Sharon. So what we're looking for in a candidate. Gavin, do you want to answer this one?
Yeah, so if you are successful in terms of getting past the recruitment team, which is not easy, and if you're not scared off, even if you're not scared off by them, we'll then start sort of discussing what we look for in a candidate. And for me, we sort of we look for certain values, and ultimately what we want to do as a business is keep people safe and make money. And a lot of that comes down to individuals having the right attitudes to go about things. So we look for individuals who've got can-do attitudes and sort of demonstrate the ability to get work done. Always showing a sort of positive attitude and enthusiastic all the time. Able to sort of work well with others, and lots of different characters in terms of what we do as a business. We're very diverse now, lots of different cultures, and we obviously need to sort of be able to work well with others and work well as a team. Need to show ambition and confidence, and obviously work with lots of different departments as well. But ultimately that's underpinned by taking on the right people with the right attitude. And I can't speak highly enough for people with the right attitudes. I suppose, you know, we're looking for people with honesty, with integrity. You know, if you say you're going to get something done, you get it done, and you know, you've also got the confidence to ask for help where needed as well.
Yeah, that's a great answer, Gavin. I think that the attitude is really key. I think for people that really want to do a good job and are willing to do a job and learn lots of new, it'll be the right place to come, because we can train you if you've got the right attitude, and we can really help you support that. If you come in with all the sort of expectations but you're just not interested, then we won't be right for you. Next slide, please, Sharon. So why choose a role with us? So obviously we have different packages depending on whether you're a graduate or a placement student. But in terms of salary and package, we obviously have a very competitive salary. And the two similar things, yeah, competitive salary and obviously 26 days of annual leave plus bank holidays. For graduates, I'm conscious that the majority of people on this call are obviously operational, so site engineers, site engineers, and there may be even some QSs on the line here as well. But I know that is obviously with a competitive salary, is also the option of a car stroke and allowance that comes with this as well. It's a very strong car allowance that we have. We have a very strong pension scheme as well. So once you've been with us for a certain amount of time, you have eligibility to join our pension scheme. Bentley's actually double what you put in, up to 10%. It's one of the best schemes out on the market. So for argument's sake, if you put in 5%, Bentley's put in 10. We have a life assurance which starts at 4 times your basic salary. God forbid something happens to you while you're employed with us. We have options for critical illness, dental insurance. We have all of the PPE would be given to you, including all the polo shirts you may see wear, all in fleeces now, all this type of thing. You even get vouchers at Christmas. We do actually give a Christmas turkey out for Bentleys at Christmas. We're not doing it this year for obvious reasons, but if that doesn't sell it to you, then I don't know what will. But we also have the option every year where you have a yearly window where you can buy extra holiday, you can buy extra life assurance. One of the things that Bentleys are very strong at is looking after their people. We feel that we are looked after and that we're really valued. In terms of agile, flexible working, obviously, lots of guys are obviously out on site at the moment, but for those of people that aren't on site or are at home, we have got a lot of people working from home. And I think what the last 9 months has proved is that people are very productive working from home. We have all the technology internally in Microsoft Teams. People can meet and talk just as they were in the office. Obviously, it's nice to get together now and again. So some people are working, obviously social distancing in offices where they need to be. But we have got that agile, flexible working, and I'm sure that might be something that's on everyone's mind at the moment, but it is working well. And I think that I'm not sure we'll ever get back to the norm as we know it, but certainly people can work from home comfortably as well. In terms of flexible benefits and health and the wellbeing initiatives, I think I've just gone through some of those initiatives. The other thing that I didn't mention to you was about a company bonus scheme that we have. It is a discretionary scheme and it's based on company performance. And like most companies, it's been a very, very tough year for this year. But we do pay out the bonus twice yearly. And it's a nice scheme, and ultimately it is a nice bonus when it's paid to you as well. In terms of development opportunities, I don't know, is that something you maybe can answer there, Charlotte, or maybe Gavin, or about some of the membership?
So we have our M&E development scheme and a civil engineering development scheme. So I think kind of that's available for anyone that joins us as a grad that kind of wants to develop the career and they can go down that route. Gav, I'm sure you'll probably know a couple of people maybe that are going down that route of development scheme and chartership and that kind of thing. Yeah,
we've got a number of people that have sort of joined the business and have succeeded and have carried on developing their careers and their sort of professional memberships, and the business supports them to do that. But I do come back to sort of having the right attitude means the business is more likely to support you and get you through it, because again, it's another thing that is sort of, it's not easy to get. It does take a lot of hard work. It is a commitment from the business in terms of financial and time. And as long as you were sort of showing the right level of attitude and ambition, then you'd be supported, and I'm sure you'd obviously get your professional memberships as and when you get put forward for them.
Yeah, and I think as well, so the development scheme, so to get chartered with sort of the ICE and the IET, you have kind of a number of kind of disciplines and things that you kind of have to tick off, and we've actually aligned those that sort of checklist with JMB kind of values and the work that we do, so it's quite well aligned. Not only will you achieve kind of chartership professionally, you'll develop your own career in Bentleys as well, so it'll help you get down that road to like site manager and that kind of thing. So it kind of works hand in hand, which is really nice, I think.
Yeah, Charlotte answered that better than I did, but But yeah, you'll be supported along the way as well. You'll obviously have a delegated engineer and then a supervising engineer who sort of keep an eye on you as you're going along and review any reports, particularly from an Institute of Civil Engineers perspective. And success rate is pretty good as well. So it's a good scheme to be part of.
Excellent.
Super.
Slide, please, Shep.
So I think kind of you guys have gone through everything that you need to from an application recruitment point of view. So we'll just kind of take a couple of minutes to answer any questions that anyone might have. One that's come in actually already. So will the interview or assessment centre contain sort of technical questions? Could you just maybe expand on that a little bit for us, Joe? Kind of what people can expect.
Yeah, I think it'll be quite open, really. I think there will be a mix of technical questions. There'll be a mix of competency-based questions. There'll be a mix of general questions. It'll be quite open, really. And I think it'll be just to ascertain, we understand that, people are at the start of their career. Some of the placement students are obviously only into a couple of years of university, graduate students, so while some people will have that practical experience, but many people will have might not have done. So we realise that we won't be hitting people with too complex questions, but we do want to challenge people as well. So yes, there will be technical questions, but there'll also be it's us getting to know that person, and it's us getting to know whether they're a right fit, and also it's right for them to understand whether we're right for them. It's a two-way process. That's the whole idea of the process, to make sure we're right for you as well. So yes, there will be technical questions, but that will be it'll be a real mix of questions, just to put people in different situations.
Super. When is the closing date for placement roles? I think placement and grad will be the same sort of time, won't it, anyway?
Yes, they are. So we're going to go live with our adverts on our website next week. So week commencing the 7th, adverts will go out. I'm not sure of the exact closing date yet, but we suspect it'll be early mid-January. But that's what we'll do, because we want to give people the time to see the adverts and then apply and prepare their submission and their applications in good time. So normally we'll do that, and then we would look to do assessment centres and interviews throughout February. Placement students typically will start with us around about July, August time, and graduates tend to start similar time, maybe into September.
Super. Have you got any advice on virtual interviewing?
Yes, funnily enough, we had this one yesterday as well. So as you can see with me, I've got a nice picture of Bamber Castle behind me. What I would do is maybe just make sure that you haven't got the previous night's empties behind you, or your washing out behind you, or that you've prepared properly, that you've got your dress smart, and that you look the part, really. I just think that you're just making sure that you've got yourself in the right setting. Remember, you're probably not, although it's still nerve-wracking going forward for interviews and assessment centres, it's not. It depends on each person and how how they prepare, but at the same time, it's not like you're in a room with lots of people. This time you're in the presence of your own home, so hopefully that makes people a little bit more relaxed.
Okay, quite a specific one. So on our website it says a full UK driving licence is required for some roles. So for those people that maybe have got the driving test delayed because of COVID, would that be an issue on their application?
That's a very good question, and one which we maybe need to discuss on a case-by-case basis. Ultimately, for some roles, a driving license is required, because to be able to get to site is a prerequisite. However, obviously we are aware, so I think we will discuss that on a case-by-case basis.
Super. One of the development schemes, so is this available for placement students? So you wouldn't be enrolled on the development scheme as a placement, but if you were lucky enough to kind of come back as a graduate in a graduate role, then that would be something, wouldn't it, that we'd kind of look to try and put that person on. But yeah, because the placement is only a year long, it kind of wouldn't really fit with the development scheme process. I think I've answered that right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, you know, certainly from a placement point of view, it's a very structured year. Depending on the role that you go into and what you're doing, it's a quite structured year. So I know certainly with some of the support roles that we did last year, they were very much around, there were set initiatives around communication, teamwork, using people's initiative, problem solving, organisation skills, flexibility, you know, problem solving, that type of thing, and obviously different task setting that, but it's very similar on site as well, because we realize it's a very important year for you when you want to get the maximum out of it, but it's also equally very supportive role that we look as well for our business as well, because ultimately we want to bring young talent into the business and train them up. And I think if you look at a lot of our senior management now as well, they've all gone through that process. So we want to make sure that, you know, it's not a year that is you just come in and make cups of tea for everyone. It's a very structured year. And likewise, if that placement then works and you go on and be looking to come back as a graduate with us, then yes, absolutely, it would be quite a structured introduction and a structured process with the company.
Super. One for you, Gav. What is kind of the favourite project that you've worked on, or the most memorable since you've been at Bentley's?
Oh well, the one that sticks out in my mind is not it's actually before I joined Bentley's, but I'll come on to the one at Bentley's now. Is actually putting it's only a small scheme, but I had to charter a World War II landing craft to go and work on an island in the Bristol Channel. It was only around £50,000 as a scheme, but actually having the chance to ride on a World War II landing craft and deal with the second largest tidal range in the world was quite challenging. Since working at Bentley's, what you know, I've to be honest, there's been loads and an awful lot of learning as well. In terms of what I find rewarding is ultimately we're all classed as key workers, because we are serving, we're sort of treating clean water to make sure the UK population has got clean drinking water, and we're also treating wastewater to make sure that our waste has got somewhere to go. So I know it's not really answering that question as such, but like everything we do has got a purpose, and that's what I like about it.
Super. And what is it that you like about working at Bentley's? How long have you been with us now, Gav?
Say it again.
How long have you been with us now? A good few years? So
I joined in 2015. Firstly, the opportunities that I've been given in terms of working with the business, and you know, there's lots of things around you need ability, but ultimately the business does reward the right attitudes, and you are able to progress if you sort of build relationships, you're able to communicate, you do the right things, you've got honesty, you've got integrity. If you show all of them skills, then you know, I suppose you can carry on progressing in this business. I like the way that everyone says it, but the safety culture is second to none. I've never worked in a business with a safety culture like this one. And I've worked with lots of different businesses, and I can truthfully say that this is the best one I've worked with and for, because if you're treated as an individual rather than a number. You can apply and go work for a lot bigger organizations where you are a number and you're a cog in a wheel, whereas you've got a voice and you matter, and you know, people high up in the business will certainly know who you are. We just need to make sure that's for the right reasons.
That's a really good point, that, Gavin, as well, about safety. You know, it's top priority for the business, and I know that I was involved in a DSE assessment at back in the summer, and even with everyone working from home, the company was still doing assessments to make sure everyone had the right kit to work from home safely. So in terms of the right chairs, the right desks, the right monitors, everything that they need to work safely from home. And if people were sat on a dining room chair, no, they were given office chairs. Everyone's been kitted out with the right kit to work from home. So I think that's just another testament to the business that they look after us no matter what capacity you're in.
Yeah, I think if you look at it says a lot with our weekly paid operatives as well, who are actually on the coal face, so to speak, and actually are the ones who are going out and doing the doing really. Very few of them leave when they join because they are well looked after. Don't get me wrong, as any business, you will get someone who's not right for the business, who doesn't like the business. That happens, but the bulk of them, when they join, they don't leave. They don't tend to leave, and it's the way they're looked after. It's the way they're treated. It's the kit that they're given. You don't get that in other organisations.
Super. One for you then, Joe. What are the minimum grades needed to apply for a grad scheme with us? That's a good question, actually. I guess we don't have particular, it's not like getting into uni, you don't have to have kind of AAB.
No, we don't. No, we don't. We don't have, to my knowledge anyway, I'm pretty sure we don't have a, we're not saying you have to have a first or you have to have a 2-1. Ultimately, if you've got the, if you've been through for certain roles and you've got the relevant academic background behind you, that will help you a lot. But if you came out with a 2-2, we wouldn't be saying no, that's not enough. We're not. It's not a rocket science role that you're applying for. It's ultimately these are experienced roles, but we're not looking. We wouldn't be that harsh on ruling people out just because they'd missed out by a grade or two. So I think having the academic side is really important because it shows that you've got the ability to learn. But really, the work will start once you actually join the company. You can apply a lot of what you've learned into the actual working world.
Yeah, a lot of it, I think, is kind of the person that you are as well, isn't it? So if you're hardworking, like Gav said.
Yeah.
You just said what I was going to say. So nice one, Charlotte.
What else have we got? What kind of interface do placement and graduate students get with the client? That's quite a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question, to be honest. I suppose that we temper the work that you're doing towards what you're coming in to do. So from a civils perspective, you'll be working as a site engineer, and you'll be learning lots of different things around the techniques associated with that, and the site management side of things, quality, environmental, and obviously safety. Day-to-day interaction with the client, I wouldn't suggest there'll be an awful lot, but over the year placement, you will have interactions with the client, because inevitably there are site meetings where clients are present, and you'll be part of their meetings as well. We do also share. I think it's on just about every framework we work on now. We're in co-located offices. There'll be one or two that we're not in co-located offices, but ultimately the framework that I work on in Welsh Water is a co-located office, which means that we sit in an office and sit in amongst the client. So if ever anyone was going to come in the office for a meeting or for training or whatever, you'll be mixing with the client as well. So we do try and collaborate as much as possible with our clients. Because ultimately they are the ones who sort of pay our bills, and we need to make sure that we're keeping them happy, because if we haven't got an happy client, we won't have a business.
Super. Similar one from yesterday, Joe. Will we be considering people who have graduated in the last few years rather than people sort of just graduating next year?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think, again, we would discuss this on a case-by-case basis. We would look at when the degree was done and what experience or what similar experience that candidates had in the meantime, what they've been doing. But yeah, absolutely, we wouldn't rule out any candidates. I think if they've got the, if they've got the right attitude, which I know is something we've talked about a lot on this session, and they've got the right background, then yeah, absolutely, we'd be open to all those applications.
Super. On the cover letters, if people apply, should they say that they've attended these sessions?
Yes, we'd love to. Well, what's going to happen is also, I mean, it'd be good to include that on there, but also when we put the adverts out on our website, we're going to put a question on there around source, so how you actually heard about us. And one of the options we'll put on there is about, did you attend one of our live events? So look out for that when you actually apply. And if you could tick the relevant box, because I think it's really good for us to measure the success of where we're getting our applications from, because it helps us moving forwards.
Super. Can you apply for more than one graduate role at the same time?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That was easy. I think kind of, I mean, you guys do a lot of work sort of speaking to applicants, don't you? So I guess we're quite flexible. If people aren't sure what they want to do, then if they've applied for a couple of roles, you guys can discuss that and kind of find the right opportunity, I guess.
Yeah, and we can have those discussions when they actually speak with someone from the recruitment team as well, because actually when you start talking about the ins and outs of an engineer role or a QS role or whatever, it might be that we uncover some interest that actually might sway either way. And so yeah, we'll have those discussions in more detail. But yes, we're definitely open to 2 or 3 roles being advertised for if you're unsure.
On that point as well, Joe, I suppose we're a business who does a bit of everything. So we do expect our employees to be fairly well rounded. So just because you come in as a civil engineer, we'd expect you to have some knowledge of, commercials, for safety, for program management, for mechanical, electrical, process commissioning. So we do an awful lot of things, and we do try to get our employees and our staff as rounded as possible.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah.
So someone, if they haven't got kind of any engineering experience, but they maybe just had a part-time job, does that affect kind of the chances of the CV getting through, or?
No, not at all. No, we realise that people are at the start of their careers. They might have been in a situation where they haven't been able to get relevant experience, or so no, it'd all be judged on a case-by-case basis, and we'll deal with every application will be dealt with exactly the same, and we can go through this in in detail on the recruiter. So no, don't let that stop you applying for the role if you haven't got any relevant experience. Actually, by having a part-time job shows me as a recruiter personally that at least you've gone out and got yourself a job, and at least you've not just I was going to say swan through uni, then that's not the right way, because I know I didn't swan through uni. I had about 3 part-time jobs when I was at uni, but I think it just shows that you've got that willingness to work, and that you've got that keenness. So if you have got a part-time job at your local co-op, that's absolutely fine. Please don't let that stop you applying.
Yeah, and there's time between now and then anyway to gain that experience. And if you haven't got that experience, I know I've used this phrase quite a lot, but if you've got the right attitude, you can be coached, you can be mentored, you can be trained, and you will become an asset and someone who is able to fit into a role and be developed and enjoy what you're doing.
Okay. So what is the work-life balance like at Bentley's and MMB?
So really good. Again, I touched on safety and everything earlier, but well-being is becoming a big part, and has been a big part now in the last sort of however long. It's something that the business has sort of embraced and taken on board, and supports people, and understands that everyone is different, and there are circumstances where we need to we need to look at individuals, and sometimes work-life balance means that you may have children in the house that you need to be home for. You may need to be somewhere for a private appointment or whatever. But ultimately it's a case of you get a certain amount of work to do. When you do that work is generally when you're able to do it. We do understand that as individuals you've got personal circumstances which need looking into. And we will adapt and and understand them, and make sure that you're supported as best as we possibly can.
Super. Another one for you, Gav. what is it that makes working in the water industry kind of a good thing? Have you worked in any sort of other different industries, and kind of how does the water sector maybe differ from those?
Yeah, so I've worked in energy from waste. I've worked in muck shifting, general infrastructure, and how it differs is probably what I touched on earlier, really. There's a real purpose around it because you are actually providing a service that everyone needs. And again, just touching on the bit earlier around we're key workers. We've all got key worker letters because we are providing a service to people that is fundamental to the UK and fundamental to people's health and well-being.
Super. I think that might be all the questions, unless anyone else wants to really quickly type one. Anything, kind of any last words from you guys? Anything you kind of want to leave the people that are on this call with, or?
I think the only thing I would say is obviously keep an eye on the website for those vacancies because they will go live next week. So get your applications in. Keep an eye for any of you that are on social media. Keep an eye on LinkedIn because we have a lot of presence on there, and there's a lot of updates and information that you can see on there, and Twitter as well. But LinkedIn certainly is a good one. But yeah, just keep an eye on that. And as I say, keep an eye on the website. Those vacancies will come out. Feel free to get on LinkedIn with myself as well, Joe Auckland. I've got quite a lot on there. If you need to contact me or what have you, more than happy to have a conversation with you offline as well. So yeah, but yeah, just make sure you get your application in, and we'll look forward to speaking to you in the new year.
Super. Yep, so I think no one else has popped a question in there, so I think we can end a little bit early. So thank you, Joe and Gavin, for joining us today and for answering those questions for us. And thank you everyone who's joined on the call. If anyone's interested in tomorrow's event, that is all about M&E engineering. So I'll have some presentations from placement and grads who have worked in that role. And then they'll kind of share their career journey with you. So yeah, thank you very much, and I hope this session's been really useful for you. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.